Hey YouTube, so today I'll be making ginger pop. These are the basic ingredients to make what I would call ginger ale, like a version of ginger ale that's fermented. And all you're gonna need is 3 lemons, about a 2-inch piece of ginger, and half a cup of sugar. I use raw sugar because it has all the minerals inside of it still. Normally from day to day, I only use 0-calorie sweetener. I need sugar because that's the key to the fermentation process. The good yeast and good bacteria will eat up the sugar. So if you're concerned with too much sugar intake, just know that as each day goes by when it's fermenting, it is actually eating up some of that sugar. But yeah, it is gonna need to be full on regular sugar. Okay, so now I've got my ginger grated up and peeled, and I've got my 3 lemons, which this equals about half a cup. So depending on however many lemons you need, the aim is to have half a cup of lemon juice. And then I have a 1/4 cup of the raw cane sugar. Now, it's up to you. It's just more to your taste. A 1/4 cup is good enough for us. And this bottle has a flip top lid. I got this at IKEA, and something like this is very handy because this one's glass, so I really like the glass, but you can also use an empty pop bottle, you know, those 2-liter pop bottles. The idea is that it will seal in the carbonation so that it will stay bubbly for, you know, a few days after you've opened it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to boil this ginger in 1 cup out of those 4 cups of water. I'm just going to let this boil on medium heat for about 5 to 10 minutes. So now that that's boiled about 5 minutes, I will now add, you can smell the ginger, it's pretty strong, it smells great. I'm going to add the sugar to this. So that's going to help the sugar to melt completely. And in order to keep the enzymes of the lemon juice, we're going to add that after this completely cools. You could let this completely cool. You could do the fast version like myself and just pour it into a jar, straining it. Okay, next I'm going to add the 3 other cups of cold, clean, filtered water, not tap water. The reason not tap water, it's got chlorine in it, and chlorine can really interact with the fermentation process. So it's better to either use, if you're really desperate, water that came from the tap that's been left out in a jar or something open for 24 hours. That way all the chlorine dissipates. So now I've got the 1 cup of hot water plus the 3 cups of cold water in here. This way is just faster. Boil 1 cup, let the 3 cups cool everything down, and now it won't kill the fermentation of the starter here. This is the ginger bug from the last video that I've made. So if you don't know how to make ginger bug, then you can go see that video. If you're dealing with a 1-liter bottle, then you will only have the capacity to put a total of 1 liter of liquid. So if you have a bigger bottle, then you can go ahead and add 3 cups of cold water to the 1 cup of hot water, and then add your lemon juice and your ginger bug starter. However, if your bottle is only 1 liter capacity total, then you're going to need to just adjust this recipe so that it's 1 cup of hot water that had the ginger and the sugar in it, and then the 2.5 cups of cold water. Then the rest will be a half a cup of ginger bug starter and a 1/4 cup of lemon juice. That should fit into your 1 liter bottle. Lemon juice. And then I'm going to strain out a 1/4 cup of ginger. So now I've got my 1/4 cup of ginger bug here. It's not a perfect science. I mean, if you have a little more or a little less, it should be fine. So you're just going to add that to the water, lemon juice, sugar, boiled ginger. I've strained it along the way. It's totally up to you. Some people don't strain the ginger out and then just go ahead and pour it into the bottle and then strain it as they serve it. I've done that before, but I think it's just easier to strain everything ahead of time so that when you do finally pour your pop, you don't have to think about straining it and you can just enjoy it straight. Okay, so what I do for the ginger bug is once I've poured what I need for my pop, I just top back up. So I took out a 1/4 cup. I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of water to this and then add 1 teaspoon of sugar and 1 teaspoon of grated ginger. This will last me about 2 weeks in the fridge if I put it in the fridge. And as long as I take it out and feed it again within those 2 weeks, this can last indefinitely in the fridge. I'm going to use it at least once a week. So that's my plan. So this can just keep going and going. I will not need to throw this out. But if I do forget about it, leave it in the fridge for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, it is possible that it will die because for the fermentation process to continue, it's going to need to be fed sugar. So if it dies, I'll just start it over again. But just so you know, it lasts about 2 weeks in the fridge without any use. This is going to be a version of like ginger ale because it's got lemon in it. If you're wanting to make ginger beer, this is pretty much the same recipe. You would just double the ginger, so maybe two 2-inch pieces of ginger grated up, and omit the lemon juice. And then you've pretty much got ginger beer. You can add the sugar that you want for taste, but maybe you might want to add a 1/2 cup of sugar for the ginger beer. It's totally up to you. You can play around with this, but this is the general way that fermented pop is made. So I'm just going to go ahead and pour this into the bottle. And then what you do is wait 2 days to 3 days and let the fermentation process continue on with all of the liquid in here. Okay, so there it is. This is what it looks like. And I'm going to close it now. And there's a few bubbles in there already. Once or twice a day, I'm going to let some of the air out just by opening it up and just letting the air out like that and then closing it back up again. They have these fancy little attachments that you can get. I'll show a picture of it, but it's not necessary. All you need to do is just what they call burp it every so often. And after 2 or 3 days, the fermentation is going to cause like a lot of bubbling, and that's where you have your pop. It's been actually 4 days since the last time I recorded because I had a few issues with my fermented pop that I've never had before. I've made this, like, not even kidding, probably 100 times, and I never had any problems. So I will show you what it is that caused me the trouble. I had to switch out my bottle. I bought my bottle at IKEA, and unfortunately, I didn't notice. I was like, after 1 day, I noticed that it wasn't bubbling up at the top, and you can see here at the line, if I hit it, you're gonna start to see a little bit of bubbles. And more importantly, I can feel tension in this bottle because it's a plastic bottle. So what's happening here is the fermentation process is happening and the bubbles are forming in this bottle, but in the glass bottle, it wasn't. And I'm sorry, I just woke up, like it's really early and I just woke up, but anyways, this cap, even though it felt like it was on securely, and it is on securely, it's not on tight enough to keep the gases from coming out. So as I mentioned before, you're supposed to burp it or let out some of this air so that it's not going to like explode. So you're supposed to do this at least once a day. And I noticed when I was doing that, no air was coming out. You couldn't hear it like when you open a pop bottle normally. That wasn't happening. So I had to switch out the bottle because the bottle quality wasn't good. So unfortunately, even though I paid $3 for this at IKEA, it's not good enough because it doesn't have a tight enough seal. So in this case, I'm going to show you now. I'm going to try to open this while on camera, which might not be quite as easy. And you should be able to hear the sound when you open up a pop bottle. Let me go see if I can find my tripod. Hold on. Okay, there's my glass. There's the bottle. And there's the bubbles. Okay, so you can see that it's pretty bubbly here. And I didn't mean to make a mess of it, but yeah, I'm recording. So that is definitely bubbly, you can tell. And it smells great. Tastes good too. So this is how to make your own ginger pop. It's just going to be a total of 1 liter. And in for every 3.5 cups, it's going to be half a cup of starter. So as long as you do that combination, it should work, whether it's 3.5 cups of juice or 3.5 cups of tea or 3.5 cups of water. It should work. So I hope you are doing well. Have yourself a wonderful, blessed day, and thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Bye for now. God bless.